Mark here, Action Figuratorium, studio where I photograph toys. The Four Horsemen have come out with another wave of figures in their science fiction line, Cosmic Legions. As you know, I'm a real big fan of the Four Horsemen. I do a lot of toy unboxing videos on this channel of their toys. I also talked about the first wave of Cosmic Legions. So I thought today it'd be kind of fun to go over each of the new characters that they're coming out with, 5 in total, and sort of react to them, and then kind of predict sort of the collectability of these figures. So stick around. All right, so there are 5 new figures that they have announced. We have seen photos of these. They're on the Four Horsemen website. They're also in the store for pre-order. It's these 5 guys here, and there is also a weapons pack, I should point out. So I thought maybe we could just go through these one at a time, say kind of what we think is especially cool about them and where we think that people are going to end up using these, collecting these, that kind of thing. So this first guy is clearly an homage to pop culture aliens, what we think of as the little grays. In fact, if you look at the name of his race right there, it's called Grayborn. This, I think, is a particularly cool looking figure. He's got that traditional kind of alien look, but they gave him this body of, I don't know, kind of futuristic humanoid. And this is clearly going to be a character that pits himself against other combatants in the science fiction universe that the Four Horsemen have created. It's essentially this sort of giant kind of space prison, and so everyone is either a space prisoner or they're some kind of a warden, sentry guard type person. And of course, if you are a prisoner in the space prison, you're going to be part of some faction, and there's going to be some type of, you know, underworld stuff going on, that sort of thing. And these characters are great in that they're kind of, you know, give you some imagination to sort of dream up exactly what these guys do. So we absolutely love this guy. He looks fantastic. These pics that they do for them look absolutely great. You can see on the back here some little mini posters. These were actually graphics that were teased on the Four Horsemen Instagram account, and I have to say that the marketing for the Four Horsemen is really improving. These were cool teases. They just put out sort of a silhouette of what the figure is going to look like versus a character that we've already seen, so we know it's a matchup. It's part of this thing that happens in the space prison. There's some sort of arena fights. So this guy, of course, we love, looks particularly cool. Let's move on to the next figure. It's this Mirage kind of thing. Looks very much to me more of kind of a Mythic Legions character, especially with this armor. This is all very crossover. This could very easily be some type of dryad, elven, you know, fantasy fairy armor. Her head, of course, is very what I would call Star Trekian. And what I mean by that is in Star Trek, what they would do to try to like fool you into thinking that there's these different races of aliens out there was to suggest that they had evolved similarly the way we evolved, but then something evolved a little different, like maybe they have some kind of a weird nose or weird ears or something compared to us, and so they would be exactly human except for those sort of, you know, aesthetic features. And this feels kind of a little bit like that, like it's all human with a human head and then this sort of crustacean hat thing on it. And this is not a bad thing to have something Star Trekian. If you are going to be making a space opera that consists of all other space operas, right, then of course you're going to want to have something that's kind of Star Trekian in the first place, which leads me to the next figure. This guy, I don't know how to pronounce any of these names. Novine, Lean, This is clearly, in my opinion, sort of their Star Wars figure. Star Wars is really into these guys in typical human being humanoids, but in cool sort of 70s France racing jacket looking space suits and sort of space ranger outfits with a little bit of armor here and there, but then an alien head, some kind of an Admiral Akbar or something like that, or some hammerhead or thing, like a human body, but in the spacesuit. You know, it's kind of the cool bounty hunter look, and this is very much that. This is, in my opinion, very much a representation of that. And this guy also comes with, if I'm not mistaken, he has a couple different heads, which is kind of nice. Very sort of, at first glance, kind of Predator-esque, which of course there's nothing wrong with that. We just like to point these things out to say that we notice them. So I actually kind of like this guy. I think if you were someone who's into customizing and doing repaints, I think this is the guy that you would want to get and really do up this cool armor that they put on him. It especially looks cool in the back. I don't know if you guys have checked these out or not, but this whole detail involving this weird apparatus and the symmetry of these shoulders here, something you just don't see very often when they're making toys like this. Okay, so these first three guys I just showed you, they are in the $37 range on the store. And I would recommend that if you are thinking about collecting Four Horsemen toys, you're never going to find it cheaper than here. If you buy one of these for $37, you can easily get your $37 back anytime, and maybe $5 or $10 more. I don't know if you can buy these for pre-order, then as soon as you get it, turn it around and start making enough money to live off of. What I'm saying is, if you're worried that like $37 is a lot of money and you're scared that you're going to go broke buying toys, you can always put them back in the package and sell them and get $60 for these guys. So none of these purchases are risk at all. You can easily get back your petty cash on any of these characters. So this next guy is in the $47 range, and that means he's going to be a big dude, you know, the way like the Belphegor guy was kind of a big dude. And same thing with the Krampus figure, which is basically a Belphegor with a different demon head. This is their sort of big dude, and this guy looks like he's out of Heavy Metal magazine. This is like weird sort of space barbarian, half cyborg looking dude, and in this picture it looks like he went into like some sort of a bathroom and just knocked out Spawn, McFarlane's Spawn, and then just he turned around and walked back out, you know, sucker punched him and is done. There's so much detail on this guy. I don't know that, I think the way they compensated with the amount of detail on this figure is it looks like the paint scheme is then therefore kind of simplified, in that these pieces that are cyborg are all just this sort of, you know, kind of gunmetal gray. That's how they can get it to you at this kind of price. But it's got like a little dab of blue, a little dab of red. That's, each one of those is a couple bucks, you know, on the cost. And then for these guys to include that and to get it at this price, I think, you know, when I look at things like that, and look, it's got like a little piece of fur, and you know, these things are badass. This is a crusher. This character is a total crusher for them. I think people buy in the pyramid. I think they buy in at the lowest dollar amount to get the most bang for their buck. Fewer people buy into the next, and fewer people buy into the last part, the most expensive guys, and therefore there's less of them. They're worth the most at that point. But I think this guy is someone who a lot of people are going to spend money on, the extra $10 to get. because I think he looks particularly uniquely weird and cool. So the last guy that they're putting out is this guy, and he's kind of a army builder sort of guy. He's a type of a deluxe. He's $60, which generally speaking that means it's a figure and a half, like you get a character and then a lot of other parts, a lot of other heads, maybe some different shoulders, a bunch of different weapons. There's one that Mythic Legions, in the Mythic Legions line, that is a deluxe Knight builder, and with that you can almost make two figures out of it if you just get another pair of arms and legs. There's everything there to make everything in a second Knight, and this guy's, I get the feeling he's kind of like that. It looks like there's a whole bunch of things that comes with. He's kind of a sort of a futuristic kind of a riot cop looking dude with the shield and the and the giant sort of you know, stun rod there, and the cool flip down mask. I don't know. I think that they're probably going to sell the least amount of this guy only because he's $60. Not because he's not worth it. I just think that fewer people pay the most money for these figures. I think a lot of people, are, like myself, are kind of casual in picking these things up. I don't ever go all in. I like to cherry pick. I don't buy the ones that I think are going to go up in value. I buy the ones that I like, the ones that I want to own, the ones that I don't want to sell, that I want to keep. I really like try to pick out the ones that I love, and not do any sort of guessing when it comes to buying these guys. And so, you know, I just look at the stuff that turns me on, that I think is cool. And I think a lot of other people will make their purchases based solely on price. You know, they'll look at, like, if I'm going to get two guys, maybe this and this, or this and this, this and this. It always comes down to kind of a price thing for the most part. So in doing a little bit of guesswork on what we think is going to become, you know, the collectible figure years down the road, like, oh, I should have bought in when I had the chance. I am just going to I'm going to cast my dice that this figure here is going to be the one that they sell the least of. And it's not because she's a female figure and Todd McFarlane hates women or something or whatever is going around. Nothing to do with that. It's not because she looks too close to the fantasy figures that Four Horsemen make, the Mythic Legions. These would be two kind of criticisms. You know, they're like, I just kind of want really more tech in my science fiction, less sort of you know, fantasy, and the armor here is real sort of 50-50. Could go either way, but I think that people overall are probably turned off by the aesthetic of the creepy head. I think that is going to be the general reaction, is they're going to sell the least amount of these guys because of the creepy head. I don't think it's going to connect as well as the others. Now, some people, this is going to be their absolute favorite figure of all time. It's just that that's going to be a smaller group. Opinion only I have, but that's going to be a little smaller group. And so fewer of these guys are going to sell despite being the $37 range. That is going to be my guess. And so if you were to buy something from this line, put it away and incubate it. Bring it out later just to make money on, no other reason. This is the one that I would bet on. I never know, or I've gotten to see, as far as I know anyone has, what the sales figures on pre-orders are like from the Four Horsemen in terms of what the supply and demand is going to be in terms of resale market. But if those guys ever went to me and said, like, you know, you're 100% wrong, that would actually be interesting. I would find that extremely interesting to find out why this would be the most purchased character. But I'm going to go with, it's probably going to be the least. We're going to see the fewest amount of these guys. And I'm also going to say this. There's going to be a period in resale for these guys where people put them up for sale, and no one's going to buy them. They're going to sit there for a long time, but just like anything, disappear, and we're like, where'd they all go? Who knows? They're probably out there with some sort of Lion-O Thundercats attack arm guy hidden under the table. So with that, thanks for stopping in, and you can also get these guys on pre-order right now. Highly recommend you go and pick up a couple if you just love cool action figures, or if you think that you want to get into something maybe that might be worth a little bit more down the line. These guys are extremely safe buys. So with that, I'll catch you.